The following podcast is for 18 and up audiences only.
So guys, are you ready for this important question of your lives?
No.
Yeah. Always.
Robin Hood, Little John, the Sheriff of Nottingham. Fuck, marry, kill. Go.
Oh my god. Okay.
I have to kill one?
You have to kill one.
Oh.
Who do you kill? Okay, instead of kill, maybe what? Imprison for life.
Sure.
Imprison for life. We have a justice system here.
Yeah, okay. Alright, throw in the
And like, it could be like a sexy prison, so they won't even mind it that much.
Alright.
They go to horny jail.
Oh my. I'm thinking, though. That's a good question.
Alright, so, I'll go first then. Mary, Little John.
Of course.
So... Fox is gonna be Robin then.
Okay.
And the prison is the sheriff.
Oh my gosh. You're putting him in the stocks?
Yes.
His big butt up, just helpless.
Yep.
Gosh.
Gonna-
Help for just any man who comes along can just help himself.
That's crazy.
Any merry man, if you will.
Oh gosh, this is gonna expose a lot about me.
Uh-huh.
Say fuck Little John,
Excellent.
marry the sheriff.
You can change him.
Yeah, he's a fixer-upper. I love those types. You know I do.
We know.
Imprison Robin Hood.
Okay, but you know, Robin, he can escape from prison. So, like, it's not even really imprisonment.
Yeah.
Right? Like, he's gotten out of tight spots.
And it's nothing
Many tight spots.
against Robin Hood's, like, size per se. It's just, I like him big.
You like him big.
I like him big.
You like big butts.
I cannot lie.
You cannot lie.
No, it's the truth.
Lying's not allowed.
It's the truth.
So welcome to the
Whoa,
Loincloth Hour.
You
tried
haven't
to
given
sneak
your...
I don't need to answer.
You need to
I
answer.
asked the questions here. I don't answer them. Okay.
Whoa, wait
We
a
all
minute.
agreed beforehand that I was going to ask questions
No, we didn't.
on this
I asked if
episode.
you were
We
gonna ask
absolutely
the
did not
questions.
agree to that.
You said I'm gonna be the wild card. I'm not gonna ask any
I'm the wild
questions.
Okay, well, I think my answers are probably the same as Luke's. I think I would marry Little John. And, you know, maybe I would fuck the sheriff and imprison Robin Hood, but only if I knew Robin Hood could escape.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like, sorry, sheriff, you're going ass up.
I
in the
love how
stocks.
each of our
He needs
answers
punishment.
define us. I feel like I'm romantically involved with the most toxic of the three, which, I mean, that's just, you know, my that's just on my repertoire, or whatever you call it.
And then Hira and I, we both want, like, the easygoing, like, kind of slobby hot guy. Interesting.
I mean, like,
Interesting.
you know.
Well, welcome to the Loincloth Hour.
Welcome
for
to
real
the-
this time.
Yes.
A podcast run by three queer friends. I'm Manicorn,
I'm Iran.
And I'm Sid.
and usually we talked about Disney's Gargoyles or other J cartoons. Today we're just talking about another J cartoon, Disney's Robin Hood, which I have a little background information right here. Released in 1973.
Ooh.
Did you guys know the original pitch for this movie was actually going to be a film about Reynard the Fox?
Yes, I did.
I did not.
We did. So Reynard the Fox is another sort of like trickster fox figure from like European Middle Ages, that sort of thing. However, for whatever reason, they didn't move on that project. And then decades later, they came up on the idea of like making an animated film about Robin Hood, and they sort of combined the two concepts into like one movie.
So, what I've heard, which mind you, I haven't actually done research on because I didn't do any research for this one.
Neither did I. I just have to know
I've
that.
heard that the reason Reynard the Fox didn't move forwards was because they dug into it and found out that there's a whole lot of anti-Semitic symbolism and stuff in Reynard the Fox.
Okay, like guys, you don't need to include that symbolism then. Disney, you can just not show that stuff. You know what? They probably made the right call.
Anyways, that's what I heard. Again, that's just me repeating some random thing I heard off the internet, so who knows how true it is.
Reynard the Fox is cancelled.
I'm sure one of our viewers is going to write in at some point and be like, give us the entire history of what actually happened.
Please do, if anyone knows, because I don't know. Actually, I got a book on, like, old Disney movies, like, specifically for the Robin Hood section, because I want to know more about that. There was, like, barely any information on it. So I was like, I felt a little gypped, because I was like, I got this book for this reason, and then it was like, no.
That's crazy. Do you know 1973 is the same year Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon came out? Coincidence? I think not.
I don't think so. There is no coincidences.
Did you know that Robin Hood has probably the most reused footage of any project Disney's ever made?
I did know that.
Yes.
Yes. And it's very obvious. But, like, I feel like people who went to the theater in 1973 wouldn't have picked up on it because, like, home video wasn't, like, as much of a thing.
No, they could have they got away with it.
They got away with it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, like the football scene with Madame Clock, that's from Bedknobs and Broomsticks, I believe.
Yeah, which actually came out, like, right before Robin Hood.
Yeah.
And then, like, the dancing scene is, like, from Snow White.
And, of course, Jungle Book donated so many scenes of Little John.
All of Baloo was donated to this movie.
Yeah, Baloo, and not to mention, Sir Hiss
and Ka.
Ka are I honestly thought they were the same character for a very long time. The two hypno fetish fueled snakes, which we'll be talking about later.
Both beloved by the hypno community.
Yes. They
gave birth to the hypno community, really. Much like this movie basically gave birth to the modern furry subculture, as we know it, at least. We all owe it to Robin Hood. Mm-hmm. And I think that's beautiful. Mm-hmm. This is also the first Disney animated movie to be completed entirely post Walt Disney's death. So he had nothing to do with this movie. It's the very first one in that line. And it's also their first movie to have an entirely non-human cast because it is entirely anthropomorphic animals.
Yes, furry agenda pushed. That's what it was.
And my last piece of trivia before we really dive into what we really want to talk about today, which is mostly how hot the Sheriff of Nottingham is Robin Hood was voiced by a gay actor, Brian Bedford, which I also think is very interesting. And delightful.
Is amazing. Because everybody loves Robin Hood's voice.
Everyone does love Robin Hood. And, like, even non-furries. Like, there's this meme, like, with non-furries who are like, I'm not a furry, but I would fuck Disney's Robin Hood. That's, like, always the thing with this movie.
Yeah.
He is very fuckable.
He is. They have Gosh, that show Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, which I'm not really the biggest fan of. It's okay, but I watched all of it anyways because I was bored. There is a one breakaway joke where, like, the two girls, like the two main girls, are just like, did you ever, like, out of the blue, it has nothing to do with the episode. They're like, hey, did you ever watch, like, Disney's Robin Hood and think that the Robin Hood was so hot? And the other girl was like, oh yes, that British voice and the fact that he didn't wear pants.
He doesn't wear pants.
No, he doesn't.
He's in bondage several times in this movie, at least one time, maybe not several. He'll treat you right. He's so nice to Marion. He's a romantic.
He is.
He's dashing. He's debonair. Like, he is the full package. If only he had a big muscle ass, then he really would be perfect.
Yeah, for the size queens, it's not really, obviously, for me, Robin Hood is too perfect of a character for me to, like, become entranced with. He's too nice. He's still a rogue. I love rogues. Like, they're my favorite kind of people to party with. I mean, if I had the chance to have a fling with Robin Hood and Little John, I'd take it.
Of course.
My heart belongs to the sheriff.
I feel like Robin and Sly Cooper have a lot of similarities.
Thank
but
you.
Sly is more Sly, as you were. Like, he's not as heroic, maybe?
He's a modern generation of Robin Hood because he does target criminals and take their money, but he doesn't give them to the poor. He just uses it, I think.
He just uses it to buy upgrades for himself.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, but
I'm still kind of annoyed, and I know this is a tangent, but I'm still kind of annoyed that the Sly games aren't available on any modern systems.
Did they just announce they're coming out on like the PS4 or something?
Did they?
PS4.
Or the PS5?
Yeah, I did see something that they were going to be remastering a few of the games. I don't own a PS5 though, so I guess like I didn't really look as far into it, but I'm glad that there's something happening with the Sly Cooper franchise, because it's been abandoned for like nearly a full 15 years almost, I want to say.
Yeah,
like,
I don't know if it actually is getting a remaster or not. I just saw someone on Blue Sky saying that it was.
It might be,
it's
honestly.
It's not official.
Like, I saw some Sly accounts I follow freaking out about it. But I'd say, Sly Cooper definitely kind of encapsulates that same sort of energy and spirit that Disney's Robin Hood went for. I wouldn't be surprised if the developers were taking Robin Hood as an inspiration for the character of Sly Cooper. And I think Sly and Murray...
Murray is like his Little John.
Yes. And Bentley, would that make Bentley Marion? No, because Carmelita would be like the features of Marion, but Bentley would be the sensibilities of Marion.
Yeah. They don't really have like a smart guy in the Married Men.
No,
like Friar Tuck. I wouldn't say Friar Tuck is like a smart intellectual.
No, he's kind
of
he's like a cool priest kind of guy.
Yeah, he's not your normal priest.
He's like I'm gay and Christian.
I'm gay and Christian. We're inclusive. He hangs a rainbow on his church.
Yeah, he's gonna suck some dick and praise the Lord after how good it was.
Hallelujah.
Yes.
Oodalali.
Oodalali. Yes. The catchphrase of the century. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so I looked into it. Apparently, only the first game is available. It's emulated, and it doesn't play well, and it's kind of broken.
Okay, but there's no news on like new upcoming.
They have explicitly stated there's no upcoming games.
That's too bad.
When that came out.
I'm gonna strangle someone, not anyone in the room, just someone else later, just to get my rage out over that.
But yeah, it's only available via a subscription service as well.
I hate that shit. Release Sly. Sly's been put in the horny jail. He needs to be released from horny jail.
Yeah, not to mention they ended the last game on a cliffhanger that they had no intention on following up.
Oh my god. So...
Robin Hood and Little John.
Walking through the forest.
Walking through the forest.
Walking through the forest.
Up in a tree. KISSING.
So, yes.
Etc.
They are... a couple. We need to talk about that.
Yes.
Okay, we're straight up going there immediately. They are a couple. That's not even a question.
Is it gay to bathe in the creek with your homie? Is it gay to squirt water in his face?
Into his open mouth?
Into his open mouth.
And Little John just laps it up. He's like, oh, baby. I love when you squirt in my mouth, Robin.
And is it gay to run around excitedly changing costumes with him?
They both cross-dress together. They do each other's makeup.
Yes, they're very intimate with one another. Not to mention, what about that one scene where, Robin Hood, presses on, a cross-dressing Little John's melons, and he has the smirkiest look on his face.
Oh, he liked it. They both liked it.
Yeah. I captured a bunch of frames from that movie, but that one in particular sticks out to me.
And Little John, when he cross-dresses, he has, huge jugs.
Of course.
Put a couple of watermelons up there.
And, his ass is always big, so, but his ass, remains... Yeah, he sticks out and, bounces it and, sways. He does this sway to his walk. And, I remember when, the Rhino Guard was, so into him.
Yeah, here it is.
Yes, Robin just pressing
Look
on the boobs. He's But yeah, I mean, they're heterosexual life partners without the heterosexual part. They just went straight to homosexual.
Yeah. Throughout the entire movie, it's just the way they're just extremely close. They understand each other. They just kind of have this mutual understanding as kind of both outlandish rogues would. Very much like an openly liberated just mindset to sexuality, which I appreciate.
Yes. And in fact, I would say that goes for the whole merry men in general.
Yeah.
It's okay, so the merry men, they're a group of all men who hang out in the woods because they've all decided that they have rejected society, basically, like societal mores, and they just want to all hang out together and commit crimes, and like there's nothing more gay than this. Like, this is the gayest setup I've ever heard. There's this great graphic novel I've read, which is called Merry Men, which actually takes that premise that all the merry men are like they're outlaws because of like they're outcasts because they're all members like the LGBT community, and they all like hang out in the woods and like sleep around with each other. Like, it's really good, and it's actually like surprisingly very historically accurate too. Like, it's a good graphic novel.
That's beautiful.
I think the Will Scarlet character in that graphic novel is like a trans person, but like they're playing with gender. I think Maid Marian wasn't in this book because she was actually added to the myth of Robin Hood fairly late along. So like this was taking a more like earlier version of the myths, which I just think is cool.
That's interesting how I wouldn't call Maid Marian or Robin Hood straight, but it's interesting how like the inclusion of Maid Marian came after like the merry men sort of.
Yeah, like for many centuries it was just a story of Robin Hood and his all his boyfriends hanging out, and then they were like, okay, we need to give him a girlfriend because I don't know, this is starting to be a little sus.
This feels a little gay. I don't know.
A little gay. I mean, it's kind of like not for the same reason, but the way like Lancelot was added to the King Arthur legend like way after like the myth had originated. So it's just, and like nowadays we can't really imagine that story without a Lancelot, just like we can't imagine Robin Hood without like Maid Marian. Like, she's always a main character now. So it's cool how stories evolve over the years.
Yes. I like Maid Marian too. We'll get into that later though, because I wanted to talk about the cross-dressing.
Well, I think we should talk about Friar Tuck before we move on from this topic of merry men.
Okay, they're our cool priest. Our cool cock-sucking priest.
Yeah. He and the sheriff and their belly bumping, like, very, very, I don't know, like, you know how, like, characters get, like, a hate boner?
That's what they have for each other.
That's what they have for each other.
Oh, we're talking spades, I see.
Spades.
Some of our watchers will understand, and the rest of you will all be completely confused by my statement.
Is this that comic?
Homestuck.
That yes. Homestuck? I knew it would be Homestuck.
Man, I mean, I obviously was thinking of Wolf and his hate boner for Goliath, per usual. But I mean, that works too. Two men who just
fucking hate each other, but every time they fight, it gets weirdly sexual. That it's the friar and the sheriff, like, cause in that church, the friar like aggressively, like he's like, get out of my church, and then he starts just like bumping his big belly against the sheriff's big belly, and just like bumping him like all the way out, like repeatedly.
It's
and like
very masculine, in which like what you think you've got like a big round gun you can flaunt about. So do I.
So do I, big boy. And
oh
like,
my gosh. And I think the sheriff was really, I don't know, because he's got that ego to him, and being put off like that definitely just sparked that sort of I'm coming after this motherfucker kind of.
It was really dumb. And then in that same fight, like the friar also gets like tied up, or he gets like the rope around him, and like immediately he's like, oh, I guess he goes like full submissive like immediately. That's I'm just saying the two of them have something going on.
The sheriff's just loving.
He does.
Yeah, those two. Friar Tuck is a fun one. He's got a lot of fans too. He does.
As a kid, I was never sure what sort of animal he was supposed to be.
He's a mole, right?
I thought he was a badger.
Is he a badger?
See, we still don't know. So I guess I would like his character design to be, like, more obvious about what animal he is. But other than that, I really like the friar.
Yeah, he's cool. Like I said, you know, definitely just a cool priest type character. Like, he's not like your typical like toxic priest type character in fiction.
Yeah, well, I mean, a reason for that is probably because it's a Disney film for kids. They tried to avoid any actual mention of, like, religion or God or, like, Jesus. That. So it was just
despite having the visual imagery there.
Yeah, so, like, it turns out a priest that we like is one who just doesn't talk about religion ever. And that makes him more likable.
That's why we like him. He's just a cool guy.
Uh-huh.
Turns out he is a badger. You are correct.
He is a badger.
Okay.
Badger representation.
Interesting. Can we talk about the cross-dressing?
Okay, let's talk about the cross-dressing.
Thank you. So, yeah, Little John in drag, I think, looks amazing.
Very attractive.
He's always lifting up his skirt. He lifts up his skirt when he's running and everything. Like, he's just kind of, like, naturally taken.
Yeah, just showing off his bloomers.
His bloomers. There's a lot of, like, kind of bloomers or granny panties or whatever you want to call them in this movie, just because, like, that's the old-timey women's underwear, I guess.
And, like, he's a fucking tease, though. When he's a woman, he's a tease.
Yeah, the rhino guards see this big, voluptuous, just
a yum
effeminate person, and
big girl,
yes. And their brain goes gaga, and Little John actually plays into it.
Yeah.
He seduces men.
Like, several men over the course of this film.
I mean, I want that level of power, because I too like to cross-dress and do drag and stuff, and when I do that, I'm always thinking about the rhino guards.
You just want to turn them.
Yeah.
Turn them into your creatures.
Like the gay connotations there, like, you know, who's to say that, like, what would they never find out that Little John's actually, I mean, maybe they do. I think they do.
Maybe they do.
But, like, you know, they're not, like, put off by it, I don't think. They're just, like, they're just following commands. But, like, you know, you gotta wonder if they're thinking about that more and more. Because clearly they had some sort of, like, effect on.
I feel like after they find out, like, maybe they're, like, put off in the moment, but then, like, every time they see Little John after that, they remember that, like, oh, but, like, he's a really hot woman.
Oh, when I first
so then they
saw
got a
him,
confused boner.
I thought he was a woman and I got a boner, and now that I know he's not,
and now I'm still getting a boner to him, but as a man, and I'm so confused about it. And
yeah.
That's how the merry men recruit. That's how they recruit their men.
Yes.
That's how you become merry.
Yes, and of course, you know, I think Robin Hood and eyeshadow go great together. Not sure about the outfit he wears when he's doing drag. It feels a little, what's the word? Racist?
Appropriative.
Yeah, that too. But yeah, like, I mean, the hoop rings, maybe. He kind of, like, he's got, like, the mop wig. Like, he just kind of looks like what's like Uma Thurman style wig, from Pulp Fiction. And then it's like, you know, the rest of the get up and the clothes. But I mean, what's interesting is that, you know, in the scene where he's tricking Prince John and, like, giving him, like, the reading or whatever.
Yes, kissing the royal rings and stuff.
Yeah, can we talk about the fact that they're just sucking his fingers and everything?
Yeah, there was full-on finger sucking in that scene.
Yeah.
And, like, Sir Hiss is, like, watching and being like, what the fuck? Those are my fingers to suck.
Sir Hiss was, like, I think he was, like, the most normal out of the villains. I don't know. But anyways, yeah, and then, like, when like,
Sir Hiss is the normal one?
Yes.
Like, the smarter one, I meant to say. But then, like, when Robin Hood is running out of there and he's got, like, Prince John's robe.
He stole the Prince John's clothes. So, like, what were they doing?
What were they
Prince
doing?
John removed his clothes.
Yeah, my thoughts exactly.
Just Prince John runs out in his underwear, and I love this the underwear with like the drop seat in the back. I just think that underwear is hot.
I get it. I know that's
maybe not on Prince John, because I'm not into Prince John, but like other men, I think it's very hot.
A lot of people do. But...
What was he sleep? He wasn't sleeping in his clothes though, was he?
Who?
Prince John?
When he like later in the movie?
Wait, when did he steal?
Oh, towards the end, because Robin was stealing from him like the very end of the movie, and Prince John was asleep. I don't remember what he was wearing then.
Oh, I thought that's what you were talking about.
No, no, it's the very beginning. Robin had just stole all of Prince John's shit from like the carriage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then Prince John runs out chasing him, all mad, and he's in his underwear.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we were like, why was Prince John in his underwear? Like, what were he and Robin doing together that made that the case?
I think Robin Hood is gay for pay, but also just gay.
Yes,
the
he
pay
does
just
both.
Makes him even more gay.
It's for a good cause.
Yes. And of course, Little John, and his melons, we've already talked about that. We talked about
Gorgeous.
Robin Hood and Little John dressing each other up and doing each other's makeup and just being gal pals and boyfriends together.
They're so wholesome. I honestly feel like they're such a good match for each other. And I also ship Robin and Marian. I just think Robin just has two significant others, and they're both very important to him.
In the alternate ending, can I bring up the fact that it looks like that he's marrying both of them? Like, they don't establish that like Little John is the best man. And I think that's what they were visually going for, but it looks like a three-way wedding.
So it's been like years and years and years since I've seen the alternate ending. It's on like the DVD that I used to have, but can you tell us what happens in the alternate ending?
Okay.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, I watched it just last Saturday, I want to say, and it was, so with the alternate ending begins like from the scene where Robin Hood jumps into the lake. Instead of him, sneakily avoiding the arrows and he's fine, like he does actually get wounded, and Little John has to like bride carry him, like he has to help his wounded boyfriend. And
loving it so far. This is good.
And Little John rushes Robin Hood out of the scene and brings him to Maid Marian, and they have to start like tending to him and patching him up. Also similar to what happens later in Sly 3. So you haven't played that one yet.
Not yet.
That's definitely, it reminded me of that.
Nice.
And definitely like Hurt Comfort fanfic fuel there in case anyone's curious to watch the alternate ending. But anyways, and then like like when Prince John and Sir Hiss hear that Robin Hood's still alive, I forget exactly how that happened in the thing, but like they find out where he is. They dress in black robes and just get a couple of daggers, then they're like, let's go fucking just kill
So they
him.
sort of like to just assassinate him.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Maid Marian is seen to like Robin Hood, and Robin Hood's like unconscious and bed and stuff, and then Prince John comes in, and Maid Marian's just like horrified, and then she kind of like she puts up a front, like she's like, don't even fucking touch my man. I love her for that. It was a very defiant moment for her, and it makes me wish that this alternate ending was included, because I think it gives a lot of characters like some highlights that they could have really
it gives her a bit
used.
more to do.
Yeah. And then of course, and then Prince John's just like, I don't care, I'm going to kill you and kill Robin Hood,
God.
and then everyone's gonna know who the real royal king is. And then as soon as he says that, big ol' King Richard comes busting through the doors.
Big brother's
Don't
here.
know
Time for your spanking.
I think he was in the church. I think that's why. I think they were in the church. So he comes in. He looks like pissed off, and then Prince John immediately, he was feeling so powerful a second ago. Immediately just starts to fucking cower, and King Richard is just like, "What the hell have you been fucking doing to my kingdom?
To my kingdom.
The people are oppressed. They were put in the dungeon. Like, what is this shit? And you're here, like, what is... What
Prince John literally imprisoned, like, the entire population of, like, of Nottingham. Like, he's crazy.
Yeah.
He's crazy.
He went a little tyrannical there.
You can imprison a couple people, but everybody, that's too much.
Mm-hmm. And then of course, the scene ends like, implicatively, they're going to prison, and Prince John and Sir Hiss are they're both sucking, like, their own thumbs in the corner.
I thought you were going to end that sentence a very different way.
I know, I was thinking of the best way to word it, but there was no better way. But yeah, we'll get into that, like, the thumb-sucking stuff there, right?
There's something.
He just needs a dick in his
thumb
mouth,
sucking,
right?
The mommy issues.
He just needs a dick in his mouth.
He does need. He has an oral fixation.
He does.
Yes.
He does. I've seen a lot of art. I haven't even finished talking about the alternate ending. Let me just do that first. So, anyways, they go to jail, and then Robin Hood, after he's all healed up, is knighted, and I think so is Little John.
Aww.
Little John's made a duke.
Oh, he's made a duke.
A duke? Ooh.
Yes. And Robin, of course, becomes Sir Robin of Locksley.
Of course.
Yes, thank you. And then there's the wedding that takes. Like King Richard tells the friar, one order from you though. You have to marry these two. Talking about Marion and Robin Hood, and it's like cute because King Richard's just like, I ship the hell out of them.
These cute kids, they deserve a happy ending.
Yeah. So but like I said at the wedding, Maid Marian and Robin Hood are there, but like right next to Robin Hood is Little John, and like I said, three-way wedding probably.
Me, my husband, and my husband's husband.
I think it was mentioned. I don't know if I remember seeing it, but I think it was mentioned. I think the sheriff was also supposed to be there, but he was like in the background outside the window wearing prison clothes, and he was just crying at how beautiful the ceremony was.
Yes.
He may be evil, but he still has a heart inside that rough exterior.
Yes, that's the kind of guy I love. Like that's the kind of guy I always wind up falling for.
I don't know if that might be a better ending than the one we got. It sounds longer at least, and it is a pretty short movie, so I think it could have definitely been extended and included some of those scenes you just went over.
Yeah, like obviously I think the main reason they didn't do it is because of budget, but it was never really,
Yeah,
I think it was too dark.
It was too dark, but also they were trying to save every fucking penny on this movie.
Yes.
That's why they recycled so much footage from other films.
So I think maybe it might have been a mix of both.
Yeah, but I mean, like, dressing in all black, like, going to a house with knives to kill, like, that is, like, as a kid, I probably would have been scared by that, because it does sound scary.
Yeah.
But I also would have been thrilled by it, so, like, who can say?
I mean, all in all, I think the alternate ending is better, but I still like what we saw in the original ending. I liked seeing... I like seeing, even the sheriff seemed so, like, focused, even though he was just hitting rocks with a hammer. Like, he seemed, like, pretty, there was a sense of determination on his face, showing that there might be room for growth. And, of course, Prince John and Sir Hiss are just bitching.
They're bitching to, like, old queens, and the sheriff is just, he's trying to hit those rocks, He's trying to serve his time, and then maybe he'll be released into behavior.
And then Robin Hood and Maid Marian, and with Little John driving the car.
Yeah, he goes with them. Along with their, like, adopted rabbit son, who they now have.
What did he say? He's like, well, they're gonna have kids, so someone's gotta keep an eye on them, which is weird.
Kid, you're their kid now. Like, that's...
I just like to watch you guys.
I forget what his name is. I really like him though, because he's a bunny, and I like bunnies.
He was like the energetic, like, self-insert kid for the audience, but he was fun.
He was a self-insert, yeah. Like, he doesn't stand in for any traditional Robin Hood character, but I think he's adorable.
Yeah,
cute bunnies.
He's a good kid, But we're not here on this podcast to talk about him.
No.
But that's really all I have with the alternate ending, though. Like I said. But, since we were talking about the sheriff...
There's a lot to say about the sheriff.
There's a lot to say about the sheriff. That big, like, pompous wolf.
He's a wolf, which we all know is one of Sid's weaknesses. a massive asshole.
Yeah.
Another of Sid's weaknesses. Like, he's basically, he's Disney's Pete, but as a wolf. Like, that is his character. Like, he's sort of the same person.
And I also love Pete.
And of course, because he doesn't want to fuck Pete.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, like, you know, he's so, like he's so cocky and confident, like, just because he was taken by, you know, the powers that be and just put in this position to be an asshole, and he's reaping, you know, the benefits of that position.
Yeah, he just lord himself over everybody.
Yeah. He's still a tool at the end of the day, but at the same time, like, he doesn't know he's a tool. He's just living it up.
Mm-hmm. Just to swing his big dick around, make it everyone else's problem.
He does have that, like that energy. He's just walking around town talking about how big his dick is.
That's literally, like, what he does all the time.
That's literally what he does all the time. But I mean, you know, there's other parts of his body that are also pretty big.
Yeah, there's certain hindquarters.
Yeah,
we talked about.
And like I don't know what it is. Like, he's so weirdly like when he's like taking the money from like the townsfolk, like he's. What was it with that dog in the cast? Like, he's just openly just like...
Otto the blacksmith.
I love Otto.
Yes.
Otto's very cute.
Yeah, he is cute. That's why, like, when he was, like, fondling Otto's, like, cast leg...
Oh, yeah, because he was like, let me ease these pains of yours, or whatever he was saying.
Yeah.
Like, he's just openly, like, massaging the dude's broken
him.
leg to get his money. Again,
that
gay
was
for
fucked
pay.
up.
A guy who's only wearing an apron.
Yes.
Yeah. And then, of course, what else is there to talk about with the sheriff? That, you know, other than there's that one scene where, like, Robin is in disguise and he starts shaking his hand, and then it looks,
scene.
and then it looks like the sheriff is jerking off or being jerked off or maybe writing something. I don't know.
There's something happening below the belt. Speaking of belts. Do we want to talk about the scene where Robin removes the sheriff's belt?
I was going to get to that. Yeah. So when I streamed that scene in my Discord server, it took over half an hour to finish that scene.
Just that, like, how long is that scene? Like 30 seconds?
Yeah! I captured every frame just because I cannot fucking believe they animated Robin Hood, like, in disguise, seducing the sheriff into a sleepy state.
Yes, a sleepy state.
Singing him a lullaby. The sheriff requesting that the lullaby continue.
Like, sort of babyifying him.
Rubbing, like, his arm and his shoulders and then making his way down to his legs. And, let me loosen that belt for you.
Let me make you more comfortable.
Like,
let me loosen this belt. Let me suck your dick. Let me really put you in a good place
They actually animated his hands unfastening another man's belt. The sheriff's legs look great in that scene. I'm a sucker for bare legs, and that just, like, yeah.
And
really...
the sheriff, he's, like, literally making, like, an O face in that scene, too. Yeah. Like, it looks like he's coming.
It looks like he's being sucked off. There's so much porn of him, like, in that scene, too, that I just really appreciate. I feel like... most people who see the sheriff want to get domed by him.
Oh, they're fools.
They are.
They don't know what they're missing.
Yes, no. My inner dominatrix sees a man that pompous and confident, and I'm just like, you would look even better broken.
Yeah. So there is this sequence in the Robin Hood Legends, which did not make it into the Disney film, but at one point... Robin Hood and his men, they sort of humiliate the sheriff. They lead him into a trap in Sherwood Forest, and then they capture him. They sort of have, like, fun with him for a day. Like they make him, like, eat with them, but, like, they just sort of spend, like, the day humiliating him.
Oh my gosh!
And then, to top it off, they send him back into Nottingham, riding... backwards on a horse, so like he's facing the horse's backside.
Oh my god!
Completely naked.
Oh my god!
And they send him back to town that way.
Yo!
Just for the townspeople to find him.
Speaking of that scene,
have
we seen that scene recently?
Yes. Okay. So there's this video game released like in the 90s.
Oh my.
For the PC. It's called Robin Hood Conquest of the Longbows, I want to say.
It's a Sierra game.
It's a Sierra game. So, like, old fogies are probably going to be familiar with it. No one else will be. But that scene is in the game, and they do give the sheriff, like, a naked sprite for it. And I enjoyed seeing. We recently, Hero and I watched, like, a playthrough of the game recently, and I was like, oh.
It turns out Robin Hood strips people naked, like, every 5 seconds.
Okay, also, yeah, because he went in disguise all the time, but every time he went into disguise, he was like, well, I need to find someone's clothes and steal it from them. So, like, he stripped a priest, he stripped, like, a farmer, he stripped a guard, he was stripping people constantly.
The jeweler.
The jeweler, yeah. So that was, if you like Robin Hood stripping men, they were all men, of course.
Yeah.
That's a good game to play. It turns out.
That's beautiful. I regret having missed out on that, but that sounds beautiful.
It was beautiful.
I'd also like to point out in the movie when like Little John takes the sheriff's clothes and poses as the sheriff at the end.
And then the sheriff also runs out in his underwear.
Yeah,
that
like
happens.
in his PJs or whatever,
Yeah.
which I think is a cop-out, you know. And it's funny because he still has his hat after the fact, but Little John also took his hat.
Yeah, so were there two hats?
Did he replace his hat with another hat?
He only put a hat on, but didn't put anything else on. It's just like in The Crow, when the police officer is wearing his hat. And he's in his underwear, anyway.
I like to think when Little John took his clothes off and took the hat, like there was another hat underneath. Like what is that Dr. Seuss book with Bartholomew Cubbins or whatever?
I know what you're talking about.
I know what you're talking about, but I have no idea what the name of it is.
Yeah, whatever. But no, I just wanted to bring that up. I love the sheriff. We'll get into my favorite character later, but spoiler alert, he is my favorite.
Nice. Okay, there is one other sheriff-related incident I want to mention. In the Disney tie-in Robin Hood comic book, which I think came out in the 70s, in one of the issues, I don't remember which one right now, at one point, the sheriff, there's like this one comic panel of the sheriff, he's like laying on his front, like bottoms up, because his ass is huge, and there's this guy on a horse who just runs by him and just swats his ass like the flat of his sword, and the sheriff very loudly says "Youch!" in that Disney comic villain way.
Oh my god!
And it's very nice. I don't remember the context. I just remember having a boner.
Yeah, no, the sheriff characters like the sheriff awakens that fucking femdom in me, where I just want to see guys get their asses handed to them like that, but that's beautiful. I'm glad that's a thing.
Just he's just a big swaggering bully, and I feel like when Robin sees that, Robin's like, oh, I gotta do something about this.
Yeah, like
Robin and Little John both, they're like, oh, let's take care of this problem.
He's an interesting fella. We can have fun with him, kind of thing.
Yes. Hero and I recently took part in this pretty large-scale writing project, where I got a bunch of furry Spanko writers together, and it was sort of a round-robin thing. So like one of us would write a chapter, and then like another writer would like write the next chapter, but like none of it. There was no like planning for like who would write what. So it was sort of like disorganized, but like in a fun way. And then I ended up like finishing it off and closing all the plot threads.
Most of the plot threads.
But just like that's how much we love this film. Is we basically wrote. I think it is a size. It's either I think it's a novella. It's very large. There's 12 chapters altogether, and like they're really long. But it's a good movie. There's a lot of fodder. There's a lot of fetish fuel in it. There's a lot of hot men to take advantage of, including the sheriff multiple times.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, no, you guys have written a lot of stuff. You also have commissioned art.
I have commissioned art. I've commissioned 3 pieces of art that I can think of offhand of Robin Hood characters. There's one where the sheriff is spanking Robin Hood and Little John. There's one where Little John is being paddled by Captain Crocodile, another favorite of ours. And then probably the best one of this list is the sheriff is being humiliated by Robin Hood. He's bent over, tied up, like over a lodge, and on his ass there's like target circles drawn, and Robin Hood is just very lazily sort of cocking his bow, this bow and arrow. Like the arrowhead has like, it's like a felt arrowhead, so like it's not going to hurt the sheriff, but he is going to get a bullseye inside the sheriff's butt, because that's where the bullseye is. And it's it's one of my favorite pieces I've ever gotten commissioned, and people fucking love it too.
Yeah.
Like every time people see it, they're like, "Oh, that's really hot."
Yeah, those are my favorite pieces of art with the sheriff. I think when he's just compromised and has like that side of him, that backside of him exposed. Like that's definitely.
It's not a big ass, and it needs to be taken advantage of.
I like, big butts, and I cannot lie. So there you go.
The sheriff, such a bad boy.
So. We already mentioned the Sir Hiss and the hypno fetish.
We briefly mentioned it. I don't know what else there's to say. He and Ka did give birth to the hypno community. Like, everyone with the hypno kink can trace it back to him or to Ka. I mean, it's hot when he hypnotizes people.
Yeah, like, it just feels like the dynamic between Sir Hiss and Prince John, like, that's... Like, it's funny how gay they are.
They are gay.
They're extremely, like, Sir Hiss kind of strikes me as the intellectual, like, I'm going to try and position him where he needs to go so he does the right thing.
Yes, because that will help him also rise to power as, like, Prince John's toady or whatever.
Yeah, like, and then Prince John is just the volatile man brat that he is. That, and Sir Hiss is trying to, like, dom that brat that's in him, and he tries to use things like hissing in his ear, which happens a lot.
Hissing my ear.
Yeah, it's like he's always like trying to get that.
Okay,
ASMR
but that's
thing
like
going.
that makes me think of those Eon Flux episodes where like Trevor is like inserting his tongue into like women's ears and just like he had an ear kink.
I swear to like from my own experience, I've known guys who really enjoy having like their ears played with.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
it is an orifice.
It's not that it's an orifice. It's just like they can hear like.
That's great. That's great for people who like that. Sorry,
you're squeamish. I can tell that now. So I'm gonna take 10 steps back.
No, that's wonderful. It's just I have hearing related. I don't like gross sounds.
Yeah.
However, if you're into that, it's not a gross sound. Or it is gross, but in a very sexy way.
I've had guys tell me before I drove them crazy. Sorry. Anyways, TMI.
I think I would have liked Sir Hiss more if he was hypnoing like hotter guys. Like, I'm not into Prince John. No. And that's like pretty much the only guy he hypnotized, right?
He's only in love with Prince John.
But we know he hypnotized King Richard in the past, because that's why King Richard went on the Crusades. Yeah. So I would have, yes, because they said that at some point. So I would have liked to see King Richard hypnotized by Sir Hiss. That would have been probably really hot.
Yes. Go to the Crusades and touch yourself.
And and like have sex with men there. Or like Little John, the sheriff, like these guys are begging to be hypnotized, and they aren't in the film, and that's a shame.
Yeah, it's like I think Sir Hiss is also like encapsulating Ka's like hypnotism. Like he doesn't hypnotize any of the protagonists; he hypnotizes the man he's trying to work with, and he's doing it to try and ease him, like. Try and calm him down.
Yeah, calm the fuck down, you prissy little bitch.
It's the equivalent of, like, prepping a man's, like, shoulders or, like, running a shower for him before getting busy. Like, it feels like foreplay.
Let me give you a massage.
Let me hypnotize you.
Let me hypnotize you.
Yeah.
Let me massage your dick for you. Time to relax now. Be a little baby boy for me. Let me give you a bath. Let me do all these things.
Yeah, well, Prince John, in general, is just kind of,
another queer-coded Disney villain.
He wants Robin Hood. He doesn't care about all the money. What does it matter if he doesn't have Robin Hood in chains?
He just wants Robin Hood in chains. Is that so, Ron? Is that gay to want Robin Hood in chains?
not to mention, we've talked about, like, when he's... we haven't, actually. So there are scenes where, like, when he's running away, especially, like, during, like, the mid part with, like, the arrow shooting and everything.
When Robin's running away?
Well, when Prince John is running away, he's, like, showing full ass while he's
doing
it.
He does.
He has, like, the biggest bottom energy.
He does have massive bottom energy, yeah.
Yeah, and it doesn't help that he's always trying to, like, self-soothe himself by sucking his thumb and calling for his mommy. I mean, definitely, like, you know, when you try to write literal humiliation factors into the character's personality, but it's also, like, that's kind of, like, a psychological kink thing, is it not? Is it?
It's
like a grown-ass man sucking his thumb?
Infantilization.
Yeah, that's true.
But there is something sexual in there. It's like, if he wants to suck his thumb, what if he wants to suck his dick? Cats can do that. Cats can reach that.
I think that might be the case.
What if he wants to suck other people's dicks? What if he wants to suck Captain Crocodile's dick?
I think, like, you know, he wants to, and the fact that he doesn't drives him insane. I think that's a big part of it, too.
If he ordered one of his men to drop trow and show their dick, though, like, they'd have to do it.
Yeah.
He should just work up the courage and make that order. He's
also sexist throughout the movie. But
is he?
No, he is. Like, he straight up is like, whenever it comes to, like, you know, like when the guys are cross-dressing, like, you know, he's talking about women as if they're, like, inferior.
Oh, yeah, because he lets his guard down around them because they're women, and, like, women can't do anything.
It's interesting that he has that perspective in which he's equating the male agenda to, like, the top of the chain, in which he feels more comfortable talking with other women, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like,
while also looking down on them at the same time.
Yeah, like, he thinks he's, like, the top, like, he thinks he's the cool girl in the lunchroom.
I mean, just one more homosexual misogynist.
Yeah, there's a lot of those going around. But, yeah, he fits the quota for it, I'd say.
I never really cared for Prince John, like, as a kid. Like, I always, like, you know, Scar, Jafar... Those are my gay Disney villains.
I love Scar and Jafar.
Prince John never really did it for me.
I agree. Like, I'm not attracted to Prince John. I'm just saying, you know, because he's in that queer-coded area, he fascinates me as a subject piece rather than an actual...
It is interesting because he does, like, it's just another gay facet to this movie, and there's, like, a lot of them.
Which there is. But anyways, definitely. I wanted to get into that a little bit.
I like that. Can we talk about Captain Crocodile for a second? I know he's not on the checklist that I prepared, but I just really like him.
Yeah, he's great.
As far as he's listed on the Disney Wiki as Captain Crocodile. Yes. His name isn't given in the movie, but he's just captain of the guard. He hangs out around Prince John's castle. He has an extremely deep voice, which is very...
And he's very loud because he's always giving orders.
Yes, because I remember in the archery competition, he was like, he had to shout a lot and be like, you know, this is what we're doing with the archer.
Yeah.
And I just like his voice. I like the little cape that he wears. I think he's very
cute.
He's very cute looking, while also being very hot.
Yeah, a big boisterous... He's another big boisterous guy.
I have headcanon that he and Little John are ex-boyfriends. Like, they used to go out, they broke up, and now they're on opposite sides, but every so often they meet and, like, 69 each other.
There's a scene during the archery, like, turnout where, like, after, like, he's trampled by that tent of men.
Yes, the tent of men.
Which we'll probably talk about more when we get into Madam Cluck. So, yeah, like, after he's trampled, one of the buzzard guards is, like, behind him, and it looks like he's on top of him, like, fucking him.
Lovely. I mean, the guard's probably dead up until...
Very provocative visual imagery this movie has.
These animators, these horny animators, they can't help themselves.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, we love Captain Crocodile.
We do love Captain Crocodile.
And I'm glad that you guys are getting more content of him out there, too.
Yeah, I mean, we do what we have to do.
There's still porn of him, but, like, you can never have enough porn of him.
I mean, there's, like, honestly, there's barely any porn of him. I mean, not that I've looked. or anything, but but there should be more, yes. And it can't all be us doing it. We have
No, we have to spread the oats.
But yeah, I always thought Captain Crocodile should. I always wish he had more to do in the movie. But then there's so many villains in this movie that like he's just sort of another guy who's like over there, and that's okay.
Yes, and the movie is very short, so yeah.
I always sort of wish I always sort of thought this movie would be like a really good like springboard for like a cartoon series,
right?
But I don't think they were quite like doing that yet with their films.
Oh no, not at all.
Like in the 90s they did a bunch.
One day they're gonna realize they should have done that. Maybe one day it could still happen. Who knows? I don't fucking know.
Well, I mean, I think they are still making a remake of this film.
They are.
With their current CG. But like
I'm making a face right now.
I know you're making a face. But, like, this is a movie where like I kind of think I am quietly optimistic about the possibility of a remake of this film, only because I think there's so much more that could be done with the characters in the world, and there's so many of the original legends of Robin Hood that like didn't make it into the movie. I think it would be cool to adapt some of that, like Robin Hood and Little John, like their first meeting where they fight on the bridge and knock each other into the water and have like a sexy wet fight. Like they could do that. Like there's so many like events and more characters that they could put in too. Like I'm surprised that like Will Scarlet, for instance, isn't in the Disney movie when he's like a pretty important character in the Legends. Or they could give like Friar Tuck more to do because he doesn't really get much to do in this film. Or like Alan Adale could get more to do.
It also helps that like in the movie, a lot of scenes are just completely separate scenes that are just presented in a row with no actual connection.
Yeah, well, it's sort of like Jungle Book style. Well, like it's a movie, but like really just sort of like a series of vignettes, and then it's over.
But, when they did the Jungle Book remake, they made it into a movie instead of a series of vignettes, and I think we could see the same thing happen with the Robin Hood remake.
Yeah, like I know that I know furries love Disney's Robin Hood. I've always sort of been the opinion, like I've always thought it was okay, but like it could be more. That's always been my opinion. Like as a movie, it's just okay. As the characters in the world, I think they're outstanding, and especially because they led to so many people like picturing themselves in that sort of world as an anthropomorphic character. So like I think for that reason, it's priceless. But I think as a movie, I try to drop my nostalgia lenses and being like, but how can we make this a better film?
It was the OG Zootopia, which, I think the creators of Zootopia even said that they like to headcanon that it takes place like in the same universe as Robin Hood.
Yes, it's like the future of Robin Hood.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know about that. I think it's cute, though, that they're trying to make a connection, just considering the history of, like, being the trendsetter furry movies. Like, they're trying to get on that same level.
Well, yeah, I mean, they purposely made their main character a fox in that film. Like, just because they had there's the Disney tradition now of foxes. So
Yeah.
I don't remember the fox's name.
Nick Wilde.
Nick Wilde.
I haven't even watched the movie, I know his name.
Oh, it's a pretty good movie.
I know.
We can watch it sometime.
I'll sit down and watch it start to finish one day when I have the motivation to do it and not go up and want to go outside my little bubble of fascinations. Should we talk about Madame Cluck?
Yes.
I love Madame Cluck.
I love Madame Cluck.
She brightens my mood whenever I see her.
She might be the most powerful character in that movie.
Wholly original.
Like Captain Crocodile.
Who she also has a thing with. Oh wait, does she have a thing with Captain Crocodile? Wait, did I just make that up?
I don't know. I don't remember that.
Okay.
I know that she's so funny, in which, like, she's just got this crazy eye look whenever she's, like, in the fight scenes, and she just MVPs, like, every fucking person that comes after her. She does, like
the football scene.
Yeah, she does give the sheriff a suplex at one point, which I think is really funny.
God, she's so strong.
And then, of course, there's the golden arrow.
Yeah. So
I'll let you take that.
Okay. So she has the golden arrow in her hands. I don't even know if I remember specific details about this scene, so I'll just say those. So there's a hot rhino guard. By the way, there's like 2,000 hot rhinos in this movie.
Yeah.
They're all gorgeous, but they're all like, they're part of like the guards, and one of them is bent over, and she like goes up to this rhino and jabs the arrow right into his ass, which is like animated very full and round.
Like you can see every crevice,
every contour.
Yeah.
And he jumps up like grabbing his butt and just goes like yow, like that.
They have the cartoon, like it kind of sounds like the Tom yell almost, but different.
Yes.
And
it's a very important scene.
She does that several times. She did that more than once.
Did she? She's amazing. She's amazing.
Like, she definitely... And, like, I like when they were all, like... All the rhino guards were fighting in the tent. Like, I think, what was it? To get to, Little John? I don't know.
They're trying to get to Little John.
And then, like...
that's a whole other...
and then Madame Cluck sees that. What does she do? I think she jumps in.
She jumps in because she's like, oh, this is my kind of party.
And then I think she does kick ass. I don't know. I don't remember her not kicking ass in any fight.
Oh, no, okay. She, like, runs into the tent, and then, like, on the other side, like, Little John, like, is knocked out. Yeah. And then, like, he's like, oh, she's my kind of woman. And, like, he runs back in. Like, the two of them, like, have this sort of, like, they enjoy rough housing.
Yeah, they do suit each other pretty well, funnily enough, just because, I don't know, Madame Cluck, I think, is just, like, an all-in-all femdom. Like,
she is. She's a butch lesbian.
Oh, man.
She has a lot going on. And she and Marion are sort of set up as, like, the female opposites of Robin and Little John.
Yeah.
So, like, what does that say about both of these pairs of people?
They be lesbian.
They be lesbian.
they be lesbians.
They've gone down on each other a couple times.
Oh,
yeah.
Just
they're ladies, she's a lady in waiting, and she's waiting. So what do you do while you're waiting? You go down on your mistress.
I think...
Obviously.
Yeah. I think they have something good together.
And how long did Marianne wait for Robin? Like, she's not going to be waiting there the whole time, not getting some ton action from Madame Cluck, obviously.
I think when we were first introduced to Maid Marian in the movie, I did think it was just Robin Hood in drag again.
It's on another scheme he's running.
Like, I mean, they're both foxes, and
there are.
I saw Robin Hood in drag before we met her.
We did.
So it's a little confusing for the young impressionable viewers.
Yeah, like it takes her to talk, and then we're like, oh, she's a different person.
Yeah, like what is me as a kid watching this, I'm like, what is gender?
What is gender?
And now here I am, a cross-dressing queer.
Look what Disney's done to you.
I know. They molded me. I mean, they ruined me. No, I like Marian. I see a lot of, especially like that romance, part of the movie.
Oh my god, when they're walking together and that song is playing,
and
and the firefly.
She's looking into her man's eyes, and I was so just like, I want what she's got,
It's so nice. And
it's
you get the
so
close up on both of them. Yeah, it's one of the most gorgeous sequences Disney's ever done. Like in any film ever.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people see Marian as an inconvenience to the Robin Hood story. A lot
because they want Robin to be gay.
Yeah. But like, I think that rules out a lot of the bisexuality, of course, in queer communities too. Because Robin Hood and Maid Marian both strike me as very bisexual.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, I get that impression too.
So I'm like, I'm okay with this because both characters already strike me as queer. And it just because, like, that's another good example of, like, that John and Aaron from Farscape.
Yeah, they're both something. Yeah, they're not straight, but they're
not straight.
They may be mostly straight, but there's, like, other stuff going on.
I don't think John... I think John definitely bi. Aaron, I think her and Zen had something very special together, very intimate.
Yeah, I can see that.
And, oh gosh, we're just going to keep talking about Farscape.
We shipped John with, like, too many men to be, like, to say that he's straight, like, ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I still cannot believe that you didn't ship John and Dargo going
I
in.
know!
I was laser focused on him and Scorpius.
That's
You don't
fair.
understand. Okay, also... So I didn't ship John and Dargo romantically, but I did ship them as in, like, I sort of thought that, like, if they wrestled together, it would be hot, you know? Like, but I didn't want them to have, like, a romantic relationship, because it was hot to me that it wasn't romantic. And it was just two guys, like having, like, being mad at each other, and that's what I'm more into.
But they act like such a married couple.
They do.
And they do love each other. Even they try to bro it out every time they talk about it.
And that makes it hotter if you're me and weird.
But no, I've gone through the archive of our own, and it's nothing but, like, John X Scorpius for the most part.
Oh, there are John Dargo fics out there.
Fair.
When I would look at Farscape fanfiction, it was while it was, like, on television, so these sites probably aren't around anymore. But there used to be archives of fanfics, and I would actually, yeah, because I remember looking for John Dargo because I was always hoping to find a John and Dargo spanking story, and there never was. But I did read a bunch of them anyway, just because, like, I didn't know what was in it till I read it, because there weren't, like, content tags yet. So you had to read the frickin' story to know what happened. So I read a lot of gay John Dargo sex.
That's awesome.
And at the end of the day, I ended up having to write that John Dargo spanking story myself. And it's great.
It is great. I recommend it. Everybody needs to read. He's like the freaking, like, what's a good, like he's like the Neil Gaiman of spank stories, in which, like, he just will never run out of them. Like, he's just so...
I haven't run out yet.
Yeah, you've got so much creativity when it comes to that. Spiffy was saying it when we were watching Robin Hood the other night in the call, in which, like, you're very fascinated with, like, all these complex, like, kinky scenarios that isn't sex, but somehow, like,
but
is
somehow
sexual.
It is sex.
Yeah.
That is one of my kinks, I guess, if you wanted to put it. Because I'm ace, so, but, like, I'm a very kinky ace, so, like, that's just that's how it manifests.
Anyways, enough about Farscape and introspective about us.
Someday we will do a Farscape episode. I can't wait until we actually do that someday.
Tonight, said Phil Collins.
I don't remember. I feel like we've covered, like, most.
We
what
talked
else is
about
left
the
here?
possible redemption for our sheriff. Did we?
We sort of mentioned, yeah, because at the end of the film, you said that when he was hitting the rocks, he looks like he's not, like, bitching like PJ and Sir Hiss are. He's just doing his time, it feels like.
Yeah.
Do you see a possible redemption in store for him?
I do.
Do you envision that?
I love those kinds of arcs in which, like, the villain realizes... it's not that they realize. It's just, like, they kind of have this slow growth towards realization and reformation. I feel like
those too.
a lot of I don't know. I was definitely gonna go into this when I was gonna do the Wolf episode. Solo.
Another character you want to have a slow growth, possibly leading to a redemption at some point.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's puzzle pieces in place for that shit. But, definitely the sheriff fits that same retrospect in which, like, he did genuinely like mingling with the townsfolk despite his dickishness.
Like, he's an asshole.
He
but
liked to see them because it meant, like, he could be an asshole to them, but now it's like, he did like to see them.
He did like, exactly, yeah.
He liked to sing, too.
He did like to sing.
He had a good song voice.
He has positive qualities.
He has a thing for music. He asked the Vulture Guard, who was Robin Hood in disguise, to sing him a lullaby.
He did. Yeah, he likes music.
So cute. He's all, like, aggression and boisterous and, like, rage on the outside, but I think a lot of characters, particularly wolf type characters, use that to mask what's going on the inside.
Yeah.
Like, what they're just kind of, like, burrowing, like, their feelings deep down. But I think that at the end of the day, since the sheriff is out of job and he's been put in that sort of, like, confinement, there's gears clicking in his head.
Yeah, it's like he has nothing to do now
that
but,
the shoe's on the other
like,
foot.
Consider, like, the choices he's made that have led him to this, and, like, being like, you know, like I feel like once he's released from this work program he's under, like perhaps he'll, if not turn over a new leaf, at least like try to do something different with his life.
Yeah.
Like
plus,
he won't be, because then he won't be in that same position of bullying anymore, because he won't have the same job.
does
so he
the
won't be
sheriff
able to.
have like a backstory or anything like that? Like, how did he get into power?
In the legends, he probably does. I don't know what it is offhand. Like, I think he's just introduced as like this asshole who's been put in charge by Prince John.
Interesting, because like with Prince John being the one in charge, he could have totally been. Well, obviously the sheriff is no fucking Einstein. Like, he's a moron, and he could have easily been manipulated into thinking that this was something that he was supposed to do, and he could have fun with it. Obviously, still shitty things that he did, but you know, now that he's been put in prison, he's like, oh goddamn, I guess I really am the bad guy.
Yeah, you know, there might be that sort of realization. Like, he's still a sadist. I don't want him to stop being a sadist.
No, he's still a freak.
And a jerk.
Yeah.
But, like, we just sort of want him to have a slow, like, fate. Like, it'd be cool if, like, he helped Robin Hood at some point, and then was like, well, don't think I like you or anything now.
I
like,
love that
sort
shit.
of thing. Because we like when villains, like, sort of become good guys, but remain jerks, though. Because that makes them still hot.
Like, he still retains, like, that fiery personality.
Yeah. That was sort of how we played him in our massive fan fiction. Like, just in the fan fiction, it takes place after the film, and like, so like, but King Richard sort of, he wants to like experience Robin as an outlaw, because he didn't get to like see that while he was at the Crusade. So he's like, Robin, like, why don't you go back to like stealing from like the royal coffers? If you manage to do it, you can distribute the wealth. But like, if me and my men catch you, like, we're gonna punish you. It's like, that's sort of like how the fic starts out. But then like to sweeten the deal a little bit, he's like, and in addition, I'll even give you some men to command. So he gives him Prince John and the sheriff, and like he makes, you know, so they become merry men. And they have to work with Robin Hood. Because like if they act nice with Robin, they get to be like released from prison. So like they don't like it, but they're doing it, and so that leads to like so many like fun little interactions.
I love that stuff.
Like it was a lot of fun to write, and like we basically tried to set up as like after our big story, like the sheriff and Robin have worked together, and like the sheriff has decided like he's going to remain as a merry man, but like in a sort of way like he's not going to say that he enjoys working with Robin Hood, but he's just sort of like, well, you know, you need somebody to haul your ass out of the fire sometime, so I'm going to stay a merry man. And Robin is just sort of like, okay, sheriff, like, that's whatever you want to say, I know the real reason, kind of so it's very cute.
It is. Yeah, wolf type characters. That always suits them.
Mm-hmm. Little John was also very pleased as he got to order the sheriff around and give him spanks sometimes. So he got to have fun with that.
Yes.
So you did have 3 things at the bottom of your list you wanted us to go over.
Oh yeah.
That would be the hottest character, favorite character, and any other notable background characters.
I don't know, is there anyone we haven't already said? We already know what your favorite character is. Sid.
Yeah.
There is at least one background character that was on my list that we did not end up discussing at all.
Okay.
And that's the Executioner.
You're right! Oh, he's only in like a few frames.
Okay, refresh my memory on this Executioner.
Okay, so he's another rhino.
Another rhino.
But
Is he
like,
wearing like a sexy harness?
Yeah.
Like all executioners wear?
It's not a harness.
Okay,
He's
no.
dressed in black and red, and he doesn't have quite the same model as the other rhinos because he's like slightly more muscular.
Nice.
He's still big, but he's like slightly more muscular.
Okay.
Slightly bigger than the rest
More
of them.
toned.
He's got a hood covering his eyes.
Beautiful.
He's an
Very
executioner.
hot. Very the Hunter-esque from Gargoyles.
Oh my.
And yeah, that's the Rhino Executioner.
Was he going to execute the Friar?
No, he's
No.
going to execute
Or it was
Robin.
Yeah,
It was during the archery competition.
Yeah.
When-
Oh, that part. Okay, I remember now. Okay.
Here we go.
Yeah, he's a good one.
Yep.
Yeah.
I like that it fits like the shape of his face too, while leaving his like big like rhino snout out.
Yeah, he almost seems like more boisterous than the other like rhino guards. Like he seems bigger somehow, and more scarier, which I'm very much into.
He was definitely bigger. Like in the few shots we saw, he was definitely bigger than the other rhino guards. Because he actually has his own model, unlike every other rhino who shares the same model.
He's the cream of the crop of the rhinos, the biggest rhino.
I'd also like to
he wrestled into that position.
Quickly share like when like Madame Cluck has after like she flips over the sheriff, and I also have I also have like the famous
rhino ass.
Yeah.
I just put like a
that would make a good phone background.
It would.
Or desktop background.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I need to save all this stuff. I like to see, like, the sheriff, like, defeated underneath her, too.
Of course,
That's definitely a me thing.
He makes defeat look good.
Defeat always looks good on a man. Just my opinion.
So, we've heard one favorite... So, anyone else have any other background characters we haven't discussed?
He's not a background character, but we haven't really discussed Alan, who's the rooster.
Oh, that is true.
I just think Alan Dale is cool. I just like him. He's a folk singer, a minstrel.
Yes, very Bob Dylan.
Yeah, like they made him like sort of like an American folk singer, which I think is interesting for a movie set in England.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But like, he has a good vibe to him. He also seems really bisexual. Don't ask me how or why. It's just the vibe. I just get vibes from people.
You're also wearing a shirt of him right now.
I am wearing him on a shirt right now because I'm recording a Robin Hood episode. So I wore my Robin Hood shirt.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just think he's a cool guy. He's not really hot, but like, that's okay. That just means he's the dom with whoever he's with, who's a hot guy.
You can like a character aesthetically, not for kink reasons.
I like his music that he plays. He plays some sad songs when everyone's in jail.
Blues, yeah, the bluesy time song where like everything was sad.
And those poor little mice sharing their bits of crumbs.
Yeah.
Oodalali.
Yeah.
It's a great. Oh man.
Where does Oodalali come from?
I don't know.
From Disney's Robin Hood.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they made it for this film. I don't think it's in anything
just like
else.
the tagline throughout the whole movie, Oodalali.
Yeah, it's even on their movie posters that they had. It was like, but no one knows what Oodalali means. Maybe that's why the movie didn't make as much money as they wanted. It was a successful film, but of course they always want to be more successful. So.
Yeah.
So,
it was the 70s. Disney was sort of in a slump at the time.
I think we're good on background characters then.
Okay. So,
Yeah, I can't really think of any other than like the hundreds of rhinos who are all hot.
All right. So we know your favorite character.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who my favorite is. Like the first person who comes to mind is Little John, just because I think he's adorable. He is Baloo. If you like Baloo, you'll like Little John, because they're the same person.
Mm-hmm.
Who's your favorite character?
Madame Cluck.
I do like Madame Cluck too.
Yeah, I have no idea who my
She's
favorite
pretty cool.
character is.
She's a pretty cool gal.
I've been thinking about it the whole time. I have no idea.
Yeah, who brings a smile to your face the most is usually how I pick it up.
Yeah, Madame Cluck makes me happy. Little John makes me very happy. He's
Sheriff,
just
every time
sheriff.
he's on screen, I'm just smiling, thinking of all the different. Wolf.
He steals from like poor orphans and widows.
Yeah,
so
well, you know,
so
we all make mistakes.
But being bad means that there's just like more reasons to punish him.
Yeah.
So like.
Yeah. Well, you know.
But yeah, I mean, there's so many likable characters in this film, which is nice, because it's like for the length of it, they really pack in a lot of good designs. I like Robin a lot too, even if I don't want to fuck him. But I just think he's a very good design for Robin Hood.
Robin's good for like a fling for me, but obviously like, you know, I like him big, so.
Like I wouldn't fuck Robin, but I would like help him like steal clothes from other guys. That's what.
So you are Robin, is what you're saying.
I'd be his assistant.
Okay.
I'd be the bunny boy at the end of the movie. He's like, I'm gonna go along and help you. Like that's me in the film. I'm the rabbit.
So you're the Fleeter's Nagger?
I don't know what that means. Is this more Homestuck stuff?
No, that's your stuff.
Fleet
Flea?
to his...
Fleet to
Oh,
his
I thought you
snag-
said flee to
No,
Nadger.
fleet
Okay.
to his snagger.
Yes.
Ah.
Listeners won't know what the hell you're talking about, because that story has not come out yet.
Oh yeah!
And probably won't for several months now.
I forgot. Hey, you wrote it so long ago. I forgot it was public.
It's just I have such a big buffer now that I okay.
Exclusive sneak
Yeah.
peek.
So in an upcoming, I have a character named Snagger who is a rat thief who specializes in just stealing clothes off of men, usually while they're wearing them. So like he just runs by and just like and then like the man is just like naked and being like, how did that happen? So my other character, Fleet, who is a rabbit, who is like sort of, he might be becoming like my main character these days. I don't know, like Inarad is still like always going to be very important to me, but like he might be semi-retiring. But anyway, Fleet, he's like a young guy bunny, and he's like, I want to be able to do what Snadder does. So like he seeks Snadder out and is like, train me in your ways. And Snadder's like, well, okay, but it'll cost you. So, but like he does teach. So like going forward, Fleet's gonna be able to just like slice clothes off guys too with his own methods. Just it's important to me that every character I have be able to humiliate every other character. That's important.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fascinating.
What was I talking about?
So we went over favorite characters.
We were talking about how
I was the bunny.
you were the bunny. Who would learn from...
Oh, right, who was learning from Robin Hood. Right, okay,
Yes.
right. I get it now. Okay. Hottest character.
Hottest character. Okay.
Who is it?
Same as favorite for me, Sheriff. Let's fucking go.
Okay, well, same
I'm
favorite for
run
me,
that
Little
man
John.
So ragged, he's not going to be able to tax for months.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that'll be your way of giving back to the community, of helping everyone.
I'll keep him in check.
Yeah, like keep him in chains.
That too.
You'll undo his belt for him every night.
Yeah, I'll feed him like soup and give him a bath whenever I feel like I'm in a mommy mood.
I love how giving men baths has like become like it's brought up like every episode.
Well, you know, I'm kind of crazy like that.
It's all because of Xanatos and Hudson. It's all their fault.
I'll fuck you. I'll spank you. I'll bathe you if you look like the sheriff. End of story.
Would you give him like a flea bath?
Well, if he's got fleas...
He does have fleas.
Then yes. He doesn't need those. I don't need those.
You're his flea.
I'm his flea.
Oh my god.
Who's your
Right,
hottest
biting
character,
his ass.
Iran?
So... I think... the hottest character... like, I might just have to go for the Rhino Guards.
You know, they're all hot.
They are very hot.
Like, if I have to pick one in particular, the Executioner, because he's just, like, the hottest Rhino Guard. But, like, the Rhino Guards is the whole...
They stick out their ass. They love looking at Little John in drag.
Yeah.
Like, the Rhino Guards in general get a lot of material.
Like,
Yeah.
I do drag. I could easily seduce one of them.
It would be so easy.
So easy.
Easy.
Men are so easy.
Especially these men.
Yeah, like, the dumber, the better, the
Mm-hmm.
easier.
Yeah, they are gorgeous. I've always appreciated
I can't
them.
believe I actually got in bed with a girl. It was a little weird because I didn't get to use my dick at all, and they fucked me with their dick. But I mean, at least, you know, I get to have, you know, that straight man dream that everybody's dreaming about.
So, if you like that story, that's actually basically the plot of the first book in the Out of Position series, which is about a fox, I think, and I think he's a tiger, but
Yeah.
like it's like it starts out as like he's a straight tiger, and he picks up what he thinks is a hot chick at a bar, but then it turns out to be a gay guy in drag. It's like it's sort of predatory. Like I'm not saying this is like
Yeah.
I'm not saying this isn't like a problematic story, but then going forward, the two of them like become, they enter into a relationship, and like the straight tiger realizes that like he still is straight, but he has like an exception, which is this hot fox. And like I actually really like it. They're by Kiel Gold. It's a good series.
It sounds really cute. It reminds me of you guys probably won't know, but some of our viewers will know, listeners, but it reminds me of like Shoshana and the bartender from Labos, or sort of universe of gay like porny criminal men. Anyways, I don't think you guys are familiar with his work.
I have no idea, but
it
sounds wonderful.
Yeah, he makes a lot of really good content consistently, usually behind a paywall. Kudos to him for keeping that consistent.
Make that bank.
But yeah, no, he had two characters who were very similar to that setup you just talked about, in which he thought he was straight, realized that he was in love with a guy who dressed in drag, and then was like, okay, I have this exception.
Yeah.
They actually got married recently in the recent arc.
Wow.
They've been on a long journey with these characters, because he puts out this comic like I think weekly or monthly, or I don't know, but
that's
like
awesome.
Yeah, he's done a lot. I think Spanish is his first language, but he usually has translations and stuff like that. But yeah, Lobo, Lobbo.
Oh, I do know that comic.
Yeah. But yeah, that's what it reminded me of, is all I was saying.
We like that sort of thing. We like when there's
I
fluidity introduced to a binary system.
As a gender fluid, cross-dressing bitch, like, I'm all for that. Like, I feel seen.
I agree.
That's all I have to say.
I have to say.
Was that everything?
From the last Unicorn. I think there's also. Oh no, that is everything. Sorry, I thought there was one more on our list, but we already did it.
Seat there.
Let me just take a quick scroll through. No, yeah, that's everything I have.
Sweet. All right. Well,
if you were in the world of Robin Hood, what kind of character would you be? You'd be a cat?
I mean, I'd just be like Sid.
Just be Sid?
I mean, my cat character is literally an umbrella of, like, Sly Cooper, who is an umbrella of Robin Hood. Or, like, like one was based off the other, based off of my Sona, so...
Generational.
Just, like, I would essentially be that universe's Sly Cooper, but just be more extravagant and queer, and probably always rifling through the sheriff's underwear drawer when he's not home and when he is home,
sniffing them, cutting little holes in like the back of them so that his butt pokes through. Yeah, stealing them. And it's like, oh, you can have my underwear, but it's all like frilly ladies' panties, and he's like, oh, well, if it's all I've got, I have to wear it. And it's like, oh, it's too bad.
I love having tough men cross-dress and get more fluid with themselves. It's super cute.
Yeah, and then he realized that he actually likes it, and it's like,
oh my god, I would do the sheriff's makeup.
Yes!
I'd get him all dolled up.
And then use him to trick Robin and Little John. Be like, aha. Two can play at this stage.
Yeah, but Robin Hood and Little John are actually into it.
Yeah, they're into it.
They see right through the disguise. They're like, okay, let's just fuck them anyways.
like they pretend they're tricked, but they know the whole time.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, now I need to write fan fiction on the mountain of other fan
Do it
that I need to write and haven't.
I actually sort of want to write more Robin Hood fanfic, even though we've already written so much now.
You have your own little universe.
But now I can do little vignettes afterwards, like the sheriff working with the merry men, Captain Crocodile, Little John meeting, whatever. There's so many possibilities. I feel like if Inarod was in the world of Robin Hood, he would be one of King Richard's men. He'd just be maybe his captain of the guard. Then he'd take over from Captain Crocodile, and then they'd have to fight.
Fascinating.
Anyway, Robin Hood. It's a pretty good movie.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'd recommend it. A little bit.
Furries owe it a lot. We owe it a debt of gratitude to
Yeah.
being weirdly turned on by animal people.
When I streamed that movie in the Discord server, everyone just, I don't know, there was something in the air after that. Like, everybody was linking all sorts of Robin Hood smut.
Because there's so much, and there's like so much good shit.
Everybody was, I think, like, you know, it was just a Discord server full of furries, and we were all just, like, feeding. Like, it was pretty awesome. Artizek and Spiffy, our old friends, were there.
Friends of the podcast.
Yes. Just all in all, had a blast. I'll have to stream that movie, like, maybe at least once a year in there. We'll see.
Definitely. Because it's like, it's a cultural touchstone
It is.
for so many of us.
It is.
It was like the most of what furries had, I think, for years. Like, you know, back in the olden days of furries.
Because, like, it made people think of, like, what if there was a whole world like this? And, like, that's all it took. It's just like the light bulb went off, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And now we have fucking Zootopia. Fucking corporate Disney, anyway. Let's talk about the good old days in Robin Hood from 1973.
I got nothing. I wasn't around.
We should end it, I guess.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did we have more we want to talk about?
No. If you would like to read my very long Robin Hood fanfiction, you can read it and find my other works on my Fur Affinity page under the name of Croup, on Archive of Our Own under the name Manicorn, and you can follow me personally on Blue Sky under the name Manicorn.
You can find one of the chapters of the Robin Hood story on my FA, actually, under the name Once3333, or you can find me on AO3 or Blue Sky under the name Pangolin_Huron.
You can find me on Tumblr as Sid Scripts, Blue Sky as Sid Scripts, and you can find me on Rate Your Music as Stargazer Sid, in case you want to know what kind of music I'd recommend, you know, just to listen to, because I'm a huge music head. I also have Stargazer Sid on my AO3, which I recently made one. I've already posted a couple of things.
You've posted a Gargoyles fanfic
I
there.
posted chapter 1 of a Gargoyles fanfiction.
Yes, and it's very good, and people should read it.
I'm working on chapter 2. I started working on chapter 2, I think at the end of May, beginning of June, and I didn't pick it back up. You know, timeline-wise in my life, I guess you can kind of see what kind of took priority there. But, yeah, that's something I'm working on the side. You can follow me on Stargazer Sid if you want to check that out on AO3. And, of course, you know, a lot of my edits for the Loincloth Hour, a lot of my behind-the-scenes production stuff you can find on our channel. And that's pretty much... Oh, and of course, you know, for Affinity, you can follow me as Alistair Alderman. I hate that name. I don't know why I picked that name, and I have to just wear it until Fur Affinity gets their shit together one day.
Okay, we've been saying this for years. It's never happening. We're stuck with these names for the rest of our
They
lives.
need, like, several things. They need to a username change. They need a slideshow function. They need to be able to filter out stuff that other people don't want to see a little better.
They need a
in the
lot.
search function. Yeah, it's just kind of like it's the go-to, like, for furries, but it's also just kind of like everything's piled and piled and piled, and that's the website.
Yeah, every time people try to leave, like, eventually they come back, because that's where the audience is, so it's just like, we're stuck with it. We're all stuck with
Doesn't
it.
it help that, like, every alternative refuses to provide any writing supports?
Yeah, that's also annoying.
Yeah.
Like, I love Itaku, but they have categorically said they refuse to provide any support for writing, and I'm like, why?
Like, So Furry is pretty good for writers, but it's just like, I've never set up a page there. Anyway,
But that's all I have.
How about we close this off with a big group oodalali?
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
After 3.
After 3.
1, 2, 3.
Oodalali! I went all out for that. That was beautiful.
Fantastic.
Alrighty. Oodalali. Let's fucking go. Alright, that's it. That's all she wrote.
I don't know.